What's good, witches? It's 13 Dead End Drive on Happy Weird Games today on Gametober. Yeah! Alright, let's see. Oh my goodness! Can you stay alive at 13 Dead End Drive? I'm so excited to play this game, guys. I played it last year on Halloween. It was amazing. But today we're going to set it up today, show you what it's like. Go through the rules, the gameplay, the instructions, the setup. This is a big setup board game, as you can see. There's a lot of pieces here, but don't get overwhelmed. This ain't no RPG. So let's get ready to dive in to the spooky mystery of 13 Dead End Drive. Today, once again, on Gametober. Alright guys, it's 13 Dead End Drive. We're going to open this box. Now this game, you can tell it's kind of old. It's from about 1994. And it is a Milton Bradley board game. Ages 9 and up, 2 to 4 players. A lot of fun, even if you're 20 years old and you have a group of friends the same age. Or if you're an adult and you're playing it with your kid, I'm assuming that it would be just as much fun for a new gamer, as long as they're 9 and up. Now this is a mystery game with 12 suspects, 5 traps, and only 1 survivor. That's the tagline for Milton Bradley's 13 Dead End Drive. Alright, let's set this side over here. And we are going to take out all the pieces to set this board game up. Now here's the board itself. Opens like this. You can see it's very plain, but it's the inside interior of a mansion. And that's what the playing field's going to look like, essentially. But there's actually a lot of stuff we have to set up first. And look at all this stuff in the box. You've got traps, staircases, walls, all this stuff that you have to assemble, including cards and dice, and all this good madness. Stickers, I don't know why that's there. We got tape, we got knights. This looks like madness, guys. It really does look like madness, but trust me, this game is fun. It plays pretty fast, and last time I played it about 3 times in a row. That's how much fun it was when I wanted to play it, and that was last year on Halloween. So let's jump in and set this up real quick, and then we'll get back to what this game actually is. 13 Dead End Drive is a board game, a mystery board game where your object of the game is to survive. What you're trying to do is you take control of up to 12 different characters, and they're all competing against each other in a mansion, trying to obtain the money and the rewards from the will of their Aunt Agatha. Aunt Agatha is pictured at the top here, and she has recently passed away. So she places everyone in this mansion, and they're competing against each other, trying to survive, not just from each other, but there's traps in the mansion, there's secret passages that you can take, and there's a detective coming in at all times. The detective is a really important character as well. Players will be using cards, rolling dice, taking turns, and having lots of fun playing 13 Dead End Drive. Although the characters' descriptions don't play into the gameplay hardly at all, they are fun to look at and read about, so you get some idea of why these characters are here and what they're trying to accomplish by getting the money of Aunt Agatha. 13 Dead End Drive is officially set up here on the table for the most part, and this is actually one of those games that takes quite a while to set up, but not as long as you might think. So it takes maybe about 5 minutes to set up just the background and the traps. And then once you get seated at the table with you and your friends, the other players, then it might take another 5 minutes to set everything up and learn the rules and all that. So it takes a good 10 minutes, I'd say, at least, to set this game up fully before you actually begin playing. And the gameplay goes pretty fast in this game. And then you've got this, which is a chandelier that falls on you right there. So you can use pretty much anything. I think last year I used a keychain for the chandelier. You've also got this spot right here on the title. This is where you keep your character cards, which I'll explain in a few moments once the gameplay part starts. Right here you've got a trap where you can fall behind the fireplace. Do you see how that falls in? That's another death trap. There's 1 trap for each room. So this is a room, that's a room, that's a room, that's a room, and that's a room. There's 5 rooms here, guys. And then there's the entryway. Then there's the outside, which is important as well. The other 2 death traps are this one right here, which is a thing you push this and it falls over. It's a ladder on a bookshelf. That's 1 death trap. The 5th and final trap is this one right here, where if you're standing on that skull, you would flip that over and the knight would fall on you and crush you. This is what some of the character pieces look like. There should be 12 of them. You want to set up all the characters with these plastic pieces to help them stand up, especially this guy, the investigator, who you'll want to place not in the house, but outside on the start piece. So you want to take each of these characters and place them on these red chairs. So you get them all set up as best you can. Some of them might fall over, it's okay. So you set up all of them, including the cat. That's my favorite one, the cat. Okay, and then you want to have your dice here. The dice are used for movement. In simple board game fashion, you roll the dice, that's how much you move. Now, in 13 Dead End Drive, you have cards. There are 3 types of cards that you use in the game. They're all indicated with their own unique back. So these are the back sides of the cards. And these are the back sides of the character cards as well. Right there. So they're different on the back. That's how you know what they are. The type of card that they are. Now these ones here are trap cards. Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh fans, trap cards. So you can actually get multiple types of cards from this trap card section. You can get cards that are wild. Now what wild indicates is that you have the option to use it on any of the traps. These trap cards relate to the traps in the board, of course, such as the bookshelf, the fireplace, the staircase, and so on. Now to activate those traps in the game, a player not only has to be standing with their character icon on it, they also have to have the appropriate card. See how this card is Chandelier and Statue? And this card is Bookcase and Stairs. And then, of course, there's the Wild, which can be used on any of the 5 traps. There's other cards as well in the trap section. Now the detective here, he's actually playing his own game. He kind of moves on his own, independent from the rest of the players in the game. Once you get a card that says the detective on it, with the same icon, he will move a space forward. Once he reaches the end of the sidewalk, the end of this sidewalk here, and reaches the door, which says Game Over on it, by the way, once he reaches that, the game is actually over. The game ends there. That's one of the few ways to end the game. Now, there's a few ways to win in this game. One of the ways is to be the last person standing in the mansion, so that's pretty much it. Your character, if it's yours, is the last one there, then you won. The second way to win, and probably the most common and the one that everyone's going after, is to make it to the exit, which is right here. It's on the opposite side of the Game Over square, but right here, you want to get right here on that welcome mat. And that means you've exited the building. That sounds really simple, especially since you started out there. But as we'll get into the rules, it's not all as easy as it may seem. So if I were playing as the maid, and I made it to the welcome mat, and my character portrait of the maid was up there on the mantle, above the fireplace, then I would win the game. However, if I made it to that space, the welcome mat, and someone else, like the fortune teller, was up there, I would not win the game. So you have to pay attention at all times who is up there on the fireplace portrait. The third and final way to win this game is if the detective travels all the way down the sidewalk to the Game Over front mat, and whoever's portrait is in that frame is declared the winner. And you also want to take these cards, the 13 Dead End Drive cards, which have characters on them once again. Don't get them confused with the red portrait characters. These ones go up on the fireplace. These ones are given out to each player. So if you have 3 players in the game, you shuffle these out so each player gets an equal amount of character cards. Now these cards are important, and you want to keep them a secret from each other. This is the most important thing in the game, to me, is keeping your character cards secret from the other players. So I could be playing as these 3 characters, the cat, the chauffeur, and the fortune teller. If I was playing as these 3 characters, these were my characters, I would want to keep those a secret from the rest of the game players, because when you roll your dice, when you roll these dice, you get a 5 and a 3. You can move any of these guys. You can move any of them. And that's why keeping it a secret is an important part of the game. You don't want them to know which character is yours, because if she's heading towards the door, and she's heading towards the door, and 2 different players are trying to get to the door, then you want to confuse them. You want to throw them off. You want to put them in traps, send them around the board. You want to get them confused, at who's really the person trying to escape. And remember, whoever's card is up there in the frame. If that's your card up in the frame and it matches the card in your hand, and you're right at the door, you win. Now you may be wondering about these trap cards and the traps in the game, because after all, that's one of the highlights of 13 Dead End Drive. You've got trap spaces indicated on the board itself by these skull and crossbone icons. They're all over, one for each room. And they're right next to the trap itself, which is a three-dimensional, sort of like a toy trap. So it adds some 3-dimension and some fun to this board game. You've got the library bookshelf, you've got the chandelier, which is missing, but you can imagine it. You've got the fireplace, which falls in like that. There's a lever on the side that you can push, and your piece will actually fall inside. You've got the trap floor staircase. You've also got this guy right here, which you can launch and he'll fall over onto your players. Now these cards, you can only get them if you land on a skull and bone space. If I were to take the cat and place him on that skull and bone space next to the bookshelf, the trap would not activate right away. The way to activate the trap and the way to get a trap card is by moving onto that skull and bone space. So I would pick a card from the deck. I pick the detective. Now I can either keep that in my hand or I can play it immediately. So if I use the detective, what it would do would move the detective one space forward. Now if I landed on that skull and bone square and I grabbed a trap card and it was the fireplace, ooh, I cannot use that on this trap. I'd have to wait till I get to that trap, or if there's another player on there at the same time, then I could use it. So you can keep this in your hand for a later turn. If I were to grab a trap card from the trap pile and it was wild and it listed the bookcase on there like it does, then I would be able to use the bookcase trap and knock the cat down. Now, what good are the traps? Do they hurt you for a certain amount of time? Do they stop you from going somewhere? Actually, what the traps do is remove that character from the game. So you take your cat, you take it out of the game, you take the cat from your cards, you take that out of the game, and you take the cat from the portrait out of the game as well. And look out for 5 trapdoor squares, such as that one. And you can take those trapdoors to teleport to any other trapdoor on the board. And you also may be wondering, how does this portrait change to another character? Well, that's simple. Every time you roll a dice, which you're always rolling 2 at the same time, remember that. If you were to roll a 3 and a 3, that's doubles. 2 3s. Every time you get a double, you have the choice to change the picture up there in the frame. So you can change the picture to get maybe one that you have in your hand. And that's pretty much what the gameplay consists of in 13 Dead End Drive. Moving around the board, waiting for your picture to show up in the top, getting to the exit either by yourself or through the detective's path, or by knocking out your opponent in deadly traps scattered across the board. If you're the last one surviving, if you make it to the exit when your portrait is up on the fireplace, or if the detective makes it to the exit while your portrait is in the fireplace, you win the game. As you can see, 13 Dead End Drive is a really fun board game experience. It's got lots of traps, secret passageways, a nice clean board, colorful characters, great story and theme and mystery, and the gameplay is lots of fun for multiple players. It's a fun, exciting experience that I hope you can share with you and your friends this Halloween, or anytime, because it's not really a specifically scary game, it's just a fun mystery game. 13 Dead End Drive by Milton Bradley. Lots of fun gaming. Alright guys, that was it for 13 Dead End Drive today on Happy Beard Games' Gametober. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe to Happy Beard Games' channel today. Leave a like, let me know what you think. Share this with your friends on various social media, and as well, you can check me out on various social media because I have a Twitter and an Instagram account for Happy Beard Games as well. And don't forget to leave a comment because I love to hear what you have to say, and I will reply. Alright guys, thanks for watching once again. Bye!